घर घर खेलना एक चीज़ होती है और घर घर की कहानी में एक्टिंग करनी भी एक चीज़ होती है, बट इट्स all the same. It's a child's fancy, it's a child's imagination, it's a child's whims that comes out on a storytelling platform,
Nice.
right? तो अपने अंदर के बच्चे को अगर आप जिंदा रख सकते हो तो आपके अंदर की उम्मीद भी जिंदा रहती
Well
है.
said.
That is the priority. Then you start to get disillusioned very soon.
Very soon.
You know, so I feel like it's very important to find, and I often say it because, you know, people are like, what do you have, some advice you want to give, you know, ये सब पूछा जाता है ना कि आप क्या बोलेंगे. I said, please find the right reason, because it's not going to be easy to stick around.
Correct.
He said that if a talented person is not hardworking, then the talent is of no use.
Correct.
But if a hardworking person is not talented, he'll develop that talent from the hard work.
Right. Hi everyone, this is Kunal Kothari. You're watching on IWMBuzz, and sitting with me is a fun bunch. I say fun bunch because off screen itna sara maza aata hai, but they've done absolutely not so fun stuff in this show. Khakee, the Bengal Chapter, but lovely people, yeah. So let's just get on with it. Hi Ritwik, Chitrangada and Aadil. Hi guys.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. And of course, I mean, let's just start right away. बहुत लोग बोलते हैं sake for the sake of it. I genuinely loved it.
Thank
I
you.
had a ball with the show. It is
Thank you.
just
Wow.
masala, I say masala in the best way possible.
Thank you.
So much going on, but never going crazy enough to be ridiculed in it. You know, all that stuff. So my first question is a little off topic from the Khakee itself, because you three are examples, and you know some other actors in the show as well, of how people have sustained over the years, right? But now you have this privilege. You have a big show on probably the biggest platform possible. So you are standing out from the crowd. To give you context, ना पिछले एक महीने के अंदर about 30 films and shows have come.
Okay.
Yeah, on OTT and theatrical mix करके.
30?
I am not even
In the
kidding. I
last-
literally in the last
In
one
one
month.
month?
1 month.
I ain't kidding.
Oh.
So that's why, you know, I get very fascinated to think that, you know, because actors, you don't choose scripts based on your platforms, right? You're going with the story, and then the platform, whatever comes in. So my question to you is, you have an opportunity to stand out right now. You might not have that later. You will choose a script that might get lost in the crowd. How do you make sure that that sanctity and purity stays as actors? Because there will be good, there will be bad, but somehow it will just get lost.
My God. That's a big question. Okay.
I mean, for me, I think I'll cross the bridge when I come to it. I mean, I generally, when I think about the future, I want to keep myself positive and only think the best would happen coming forward. But I'm also prepared for any situations which land up. So I'll see to it when I come to it. And I'm pretty sure that, you know, figure it out. Yeah. Life generally, we always end up figuring it out.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think you can predict such things,
Yeah.
you know. Like you said, you go with what the story is, also who the filmmaker is. But the best have fallen, you know. So a lot of times, everything that you plan and everything that you take, you know, doesn't really come together. And sometimes it's like an accident that happens, you know. It's a completely like like the slowest horse wins the race kind of thing happens. You don't know which one is going to be. But that's the magic of it at the same time.
Fabulous. Ritwik.
I think we should just, at least I operate from the idea of having clarity of prioritization, you know. What is my priority right now? If I'm feeling a little not so great about myself as an actor, then I'll pick up a role that I can prove to myself that, okay, you can act. Or if I feel like my positioning is not great, then I would choose a platform or a producer who would present me well. तो किस वक्त में आपकी क्या प्रायोरिटी है, उस हिसाब से आई थिंक आप चलते रहो तो ठीक है, क्योंकि फ्यूचर तो कोई भी प्रेडिक्ट नहीं कर सकता. As both of them already said, what's going to work, what's going to get lost is never in our hands. So what is in our hands is what do we need as artists or as people also. Like my priority could be as simple as running my household. तो इस वक्त अगर मुझे जितने पैसे चाहिए वो मुझे पैसे मिल रहे हैं और कोई और काम नहीं है तो मैं कर लूँगा वो काम क्योंकि मुझे घर चलाना है. It's as simple as that. So as long as we prioritize and not worry about the future, I think we are all in the right path.
Yeah.
Awesome. No, absolutely. That's absolutely a very fair point and a very apt point. And now, you know, coming to the both of you, okay, I mean, of course, आपकी chemistry ये वो सबने सब पूछ लिया होगा. I'm not getting there. What I'm getting at is that, you know, what I just funnily quoted to a fellow critic of mine, that you two did what in Khakee, what Gunde wanted to do, but somehow didn't do that much.
Oh, interesting.
You know, it's a very Gunde-like story, but in the best way, because
Very
you see
interesting.
that trajectory. You see that trajectory, ups, downs, madness, crazy,
Yeah.
everything. So that's what I thought. But what I want to ask you is, you all developed the chemistry. It was obvious. It's off screen, on screen, both. But what are the tougher bits? What are the tougher bits? When you have a X scene or Y scene to do, you to come with very different approaches. You जितना भी director आपको direct करेगा, you still have your own approach to it.
Yeah.
You have a chemistry, but कोई भी upmanship करने की कोशिश internally नहीं करेगा, लेकिन शायद externally हो सकता है. So how did you manage to do that tougher bits there?
Very honestly, I genuinely feel that both of us are very similar in the way we approach work in general, and then our craft also. I think as craftsmen also we have extremely similar mindsets, and it's uncanny that we've shared an acting teacher also. So it's uncanny how we've just been connected from years, and finally we got to do this part as friends and as brothers. But this is not just to promote the show, this is not just to promote our friendship, this is not just to help the characters shine in the show. The truth is, I've been around a lot of secured actors, but the kind of bonding between two colleagues to shine on screen or in any professional environment, that kind of feeling I felt for the first time. Where upmanship का तो मतलब दूर तक कोई लेना देना ही नहीं था, ना subconsciously ना consciously. We really washed out our past experiences of bad ones, good ones, whatever it was. We washed out all of them unconsciously. Like we didn't really consciously try and do it, and it felt like what it would feel to me to get my first project ever and have my first experience ever with a co-actor. I would like to believe that this is my first ever.
Nice.
Because the kind of feeling that I've had working with an actor like Aadil, working with a friend like Aadil, I would now look for it everywhere. I know it's a rarity and I'm not going to find it everywhere. But I'm going to keep this as the milestone of what two co-actors should be like on and off screen. And it's going to be very difficult because I'm somebody who's not easy to make friends with. Like I'm not a very social person. I don't spend so much time outside of my house or outside of a set with people. I like to spend time with music and books and films. But for me, to find a person like Aadil who's very similar to me, who has very similar mindset and value system and craftsmanship, as I said, it's going to be rare to find that. So in this relationship, there was not an ounce of that feeling because I felt, and we've discussed this before also, and as actors, I really hope that everybody in our generation also picks this up. And not I'm saying they learn from us and pick it up, because we also didn't know that we're going to pick this up. But what we really picked up is अगर सामने वाला अच्छा करेगा ना, तो मेरा बहुत अच्छा होगा.
Correct.
So all we did was encourage each other. Every time he saw me down, he came and told me how good you're doing and this bit about you is very good. And that really encouraged me to do more. And every time I saw, like I used to get into a scene and watch Aadil perform, those first 2 seconds in the rehearsal or the first take, and I used to feel like, this man is giving his all to it. How dare I not just match up to that? How dare I not put in the same amount of effort? And I used to go for it. And that created whatever it created. Like today we are very happy with the work we've done. Hopefully people who watch it also will be happy with the work we've done. And let's, as actors, let's find that. Let's find that amongst each other. Let's understand that the show, the project, the scene will always be higher than you.
True. Anything like to add, Aadil?
No, I mean, it was definitely magic what happened between the two of us. And it started way before we started the shoot, when we were prepping for it, when we were involved during the workshop and everything. But you know, the first time I met Ritwik, and 10 minutes, 15 minutes down the conversation, and it happened to both of us, I was immediately relaxed. Somehow I knew that, oh great, this is going to work. And it was mutual between the two of us. And rightly so. Because during the workshop only, by the time we reached the set, we had that relationship, we had that brotherhood. And that it is so rare. It is not easily found. And it is, for me, till now, it is unheard of. I don't know whether something like this, I wish it happens, but I don't know whether it will happen again in the other projects that I'll be a part of. I would love to work with him again. Because like he rightly said, there have been so many times where, you know, while we were shooting and we were sitting in the hotel room and we were just discussing a scene, and Ritwik would come up with something, "Hey, yaar, Aadil, you know what, here, you can do this, or here, this." And like he rightly said, when two of us collectively think about the scene, not isolate each other and think about individually, selfishly yourself, it is a smart thing to do also. Because when the scene works is when you work.
Correct.
Agreed.
So I mean, it was a blessing to find a brother like him. And getting it translated in front of camera also.
Even more so.
Yeah, great
Even more
experience.
so, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know, on a much lighter note, it's so weird to see you without those terrible highlights. I'm like, why? Why does he?
I was roaming around with that even while I was not shooting. Now imagine.
Oh, good lord! I can imagine. I
So
genuinely
we had another name for him when he was not in front of the camera,
Yeah.
and when we used to see him in his that
Right,
form,
right.
we used to call him Funjeet.
Oh, nice.
From Ranjit, I was fun.
Fun joke, yeah. Though not fun stuff at all.
At all.
At all. Of course, fantastic. Coming to the lady, you know, Chitrangada, what is fascinating and it's just perfectly fitting because what these two guys are talking about, security. You know, actors, you know, not trying to think about themselves personally and thinking about the whole project. You are an example of that.
Yeah.
Your career is built on that. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
you so-called cameos, so-called special appearances as people credit them, but they don't understand the kind of gravitas that comes,
Correct.
you know, with that appearance to a project. So I not only commend that, but that is, as I mentioned, you are the right example for that. What I want to know is, with Khakee, your trajectory also was very different. It starts off thinking, okay, she's just being the opposition leader. Of course, there's a big twist, which I won't spoil it towards the end. Not at all. But what I found fascinating is that the backstory that was provided, you know, whatever regarding Shom and how she is, it somehow didn't feel entirely, I wouldn't say justified, but I felt that that is not really translating into the actions what she's doing. Even though I love that scene, it's such a beautiful scene where she's just, you know, sitting next to Shom and asking, "Kya main sahi kar rahi hu na?"
Okay, I was just like, don't get
That is okay. No, that is okay. I will not.
Okay.
I will not spoil it. Don't worry at all. Don't worry. That is all
Yes.
I'm saying. You know.
Yes.
So I understand the moment, but I didn't understand the gravitas of it at that point. So how much was that, you know, coming from internal? Because you have a journey, as I mentioned right now. You know, so much goes on in your mind when you're performing a scene and still being the character. So please tell me.
Well, okay, so firstly, though, everything is written there. You know,
Yeah.
it's all like the context and everything is written in so much detail that you emotionally understand where you are also in your life. The situation is such, and it is such a beautiful, like, this irony of life, you know, that she's sort of living at that point. So there's already a very, how do you say, emotionally sort of heavy, complex life, you know, in that sense, but also beautiful because at that point, what does a human being do? And I think that's why you tell stories which are of such unique moments. You know, they're so how do you say? I mean, these are the kind of moments that you tell stories of. So because it was written so richly, it was written so beautifully in so much detail. And the play of life, you know, it's almost like you'd almost laugh at it.
Right.
It's almost like life jokes with you. And it's such a bad joke, but then how well do you take it?
Yeah.
So it's also that beauty in that moment that is again written by the writers. And for me, just the fact that something is so richly written scene, I didn't really have to, like, of course I had to do a lot, but there's a lot of internalizing
Exactly.
in that moment. There's a lot of restraint in that. It is a very deep sort of feeling, which is, you know, how do you say, when you live with a feeling for years,
Yeah.
I don't know if you will say it every single day, you know. So the fact that we had this discussion with Debatma, you know, so there was
Of course.
this discussion before we did the scene. So it's one of my favorite scenes, actually. I love it because I love silences. We don't
Yes.
always say
Yeah.
things, you know. Emotions, especially the deeper ones, barely have words.
True.
When you feel them so deeply,
Yeah.
you don't even have words to say it. So I just find such scenes anyway I love, and for me this particular scene with Shom is probably my most favorite. And in fact, we were just talking that even Hazaro, my first scene of my life as an actor, the first time I was in front of a film camera, had no dialogues as
I
well.
remember.
Yeah, so you know, for me, these are absolute, like, my favorite moments in front of the camera, and I loved it, and I think I don't know, but for me, it worked big time.
Absolutely.
For my character, it is a very, very important moment. Yeah.
Definitely. No, it worked. It's just,
Yeah.
you know, but I was just trying to connect the dots.
Yes.
Connect the dots in a way that, okay, she's asking, of course, her life is shown.
Yeah.
You know, internally in her personal life, she's shown.
I think-
How
I
is that
think-
impacting it?
I think it is about, you know, how you always have that one person who you can question you morally.
Right.
And you allow that person to question you morally.
Okay, yeah.
You know, so there is that one person who you would allow that. And in that moment, I think she's so, I suppose, tired of being,
Righteous.
yeah, she's just tired of that, you know. It's such a heavy burden to carry and all by herself. So I think in
Fantastic.
that moment she's asking, like, can I let it down? Can I give this up? You know, will that be the right? So it's like that one person who tells you that, you know, okay, I allow you to do this.
Yeah.
So that, I suppose, is that
Nice.
moment of, you know, of that one person's
Approval.
that matters the most to her. So it is that moment, which is, I think, such a delicate, it's such a beautiful moment written. You don't find scenes and moments written like this.
Agreed,
I feel,
agreed.
You know, so
No,
was
I
just lucky
wholeheartedly agree.
I think I'm very lucky as an actor to have that.
Fabulous, fabulous. And you know, another common question that I have for the three of you, it's pretty similar to what I asked earlier, but in a very different way. Because I meet actors lately, we've obviously, the idea of, as I mentioned, you know, OTT is just blooming, blooming, blooming. We're not getting there. What I'm getting at is, lately, because actors have gotten these platforms to finally get more work coming out there, of course, be more visible, all those things. But during all these things, there was a time where it was not so easy. None of that. None of you had a very smooth journey. Nobody has these days for that matter. What is it? I keep asking, you know, mujhe actors bolte ki craft. But no, let's talk about practicality as well. There's a practical side to our lives as well. We have to run our houses. We have to live, as you mentioned earlier as well. But what is it? How do you persevere? How do you persevere through those toughest times in a more personal level as well as in a professional level? Sorry, what a heavy, eh?
If in a layman's term,
Yeah.
by layman I mean somebody who's okay. Let's make it more specific. Somebody who's not an actor.
Right.
Forget film industry. I'm just talking about actors in general. For somebody who's not an actor, for them it's delusion. They would call it delusion, but we call it hope, right? We have hoped to see ourselves somewhere, and when we reach there, we hope to see ourselves elsewhere. And when we reach there, we hope to see ourselves elsewhere. It's that hope that drives us. It is the fancies of a child, because it's all play.
Yeah.
Like Adil also said that we are playing a character. हम खेल रहे हैं यार. It's all play. We are all still children, right? घर घर खेलना एक चीज़ होती है और घर घर की कहानी में acting करनी भी एक चीज़ होती है. But it's all the same. It's a child's fancy. It's a child's imagination. It's a child's whims that comes out on a storytelling platform, right? तो अपने अंदर के बच्चे को अगर आप जिंदा रख सकते हो तो आपके अंदर की उम्मीद भी जिंदा रहती है और अगर आपकी उम्मीद जिंदा है तो आप बहुत लंबे टाइम तक इस चीज़ को खींच सकते हैं. It's as simple as that. But if anybody else looks at it from outside of this world, it's just delusion.
Yeah. Fabulous.
Yeah.
You?
No, I just feel, I mean, for me, whenever there have been times that you're not getting the kind of work that you want and whatever, I think what I've felt like, you know, you sit down and you think and you analyze, like, why do you still want to? I think it is, what is most important is to be here for the right reasons. If you are here for the right reason, which is cinema excites you, telling stories excite you.
Simple, as simple as
So,
that.
and just like the art, the craft excites you, it does help you sustain.
Correct.
But sometimes you meet people who are like, acha, okay, you know, it's the lifestyle which is exciting, or maybe being on a magazine cover is exciting, which is also exciting. I'm not denying it. The glam is great. But I think if that is the priority, then you start to get disillusioned very soon.
Very soon.
You know, so I feel like it's very important to find, and I often say it because, you know, people are like, what do you have, some advice you want to give, you know, ये सब पूछा जाता है ना कि आप क्या बोलेंगे? I said, please find the right reason, because it's not going to be easy to stick around.
Correct.
It's not going to be easy to hang on. You really have to want it so bad.
Right.
Yeah.
It just needs to, like, you should sweat in the morning, like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, that's the excitement, you know. If that happens, I feel you survive a lot.
Right.
And then you find other ways to do it. Like, that's what sorry to bring it up again, but really, like, I really feel Surma helped me survive 2 years. When I produced it and I tried to put it, just the excitement of putting the whole thing together. When Shad came on board and we got Gulzar Saab to do the lyrics and Shankar Mahadev was on the music and we were sitting for that. And then when Diljit said yes, oh my God, like that was my dream to get Diljit to play the part. And then Taapsee I wanted so much for so it was just like the whole excitement of putting this whole thing together. I really survived those 2 years, you know. So I feel like if you love it enough and if you're here for the right, you know, reasons, I mean, you really, I think, survive it. So for me, that worked.
Fabulous.
Yeah, that
Fabulous.
worked for me.
And of course.
See, I think it's still not easy, and I think it will never be easy. And I think that's the beauty of it. Because that's what keeps you going, right? And also because your आपकी चाहत change होती रहती है ना. With every step, you want something different.
Right.
Then. And just to add to what both of them has said, and I completely agree to that, I also think that once when I was working with Mr. Vinod Chopra during
course,
Shikara.
Shikara, yes.
Yeah, and he was talking to somebody else. I was just present there in that room. And he was telling him about, he said that if a talented person is not hardworking, then the talent is of no use.
Correct.
But if a hardworking person is not talented, he'll develop that talent from the hard work.
Right.
And at that point of time, because I was a new actor, I didn't
Yeah.
know anything about myself. I didn't know whether I'd
Correct.
be able to pull it off or no. But at that point of time, I knew that I'm a hardworking person. So that kind of gave me that confidence that विनोद चोपड़ा बोल रहा है भाई मतलब तो सोच समझ के बोला होगा सही बोला होगा तो हार्ड वर्किंग तो हूँ तो I'll figure it out.
Right.
So I think just to add to what these people are saying, it's also about how much zid and grit you have in you and कितना आप टिक सकते हो उस चीज में because it's not easy.
Yeah.
It's somebody was telling me and I don't know whether it's an accurate data or just a thought, but this industry is one of the most difficult industries in the world.
100%.
Yeah, but you need to be a little mad to be in this industry, and it's fun to be mad.
Yeah. Fabulous, yeah, fabulous. And you know, finally on a parting note, because I mean, as you already sort of dabbled around the scene that was your favorite, and I noticed because I also love that scene, the Shom one we talked about. On those lines, if that was not just the only scene, my favorite, not that people care, but my favorite scenes with you know, the silence ones is when he's grieving. He's just, grieving. Of course, I won't say who, but again, I'll not spoil it. But he's grieving. He's just looking at things. He's imagining things, and the eyes are doing the talking. That cat, looking at that cat. Oh my God.
Yeah.
My wife is crazy for cats, and she just went bonkers. She just bawled. Bawled. So yeah, I understand, what you're saying. And you, when it hits him for the first time, that okay, this guy is getting bigger and bigger, and there's like a montage of kind of thing going on, right? And he's just furious, but his eyes are just more than being furious. He's sad, he's furious, it is everything.
Absolutely.
And it's just here, it's no here. So just in case, on those lines, what were the kind of scenes that y'all felt were that nuanced and may not be noticed by everyone, and y'all would want them to notice if it is not a spoiler-worthy one?
Honestly, I'm so happy that you're noticing all of this.
Yeah.
And we were discussing just before this interview when we were outside and we were discussing this, the two of us, that whatever we thought that, this should come out, this will work, if this happens will work, almost all of that is actually happening.
Nice.
So, I have nothing like that in my mind right now that, I did this and it started getting noticed and it should get noticed. I think whatever, and I'd say it for the entire cast actually, not just the two of us. All of us, if I'm reading the reviews and I'm talking to you guys and whatever my family and friends and all these people are talking about after watching the show, all of us have made sense into what they were doing and what they wanted to achieve out of their performance, out of their characterization. It worked brilliantly. And talking about our chemistry, whatever we wanted, we are getting that. That's again magic.
Magic. Yeah. You guys.
One of my favorite scenes is of the two women having dinner together.
Oh yes, of
I
course.
love that also.
Yeah.
I don't know if people will read into it so much into the
the way she's eating is just
just the fact that it's she lying to herself all the time.
Yes.
And then someone just sits across and says it to her that you've been lying to yourself all this time. I think for me that's very beautiful.
Yeah.
Fabulous. And of course, finally.
Is it okay if I talk about a scene which has none of us in it?
Please, of course.
So when I saw the show, there were many scenes that we were not a part of. So we were not on set. We never saw that getting made. We obviously read it on script, but we never saw the final product. Now that the show is out and we see it, I think one of the most nuanced work in this show is done by Proshenjit Chatterjee, Bombada.
Agreed.
Yes.
There are so many scenes, but okay, let's talk about one scene in particular where he gets furious and he breaks a table.
Yeah.
And he's talking to his party members, and behind is his family, his daughter, his caretaker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every time he turns there, it's a different character.
Correct.
Every time he turns here, it's a different
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
It's
Oh, good lord. Yeah.
insane what
Yeah,
he's done. It's insane, and that shows experience and
Yeah.
craftsmanship.
Yeah.
True.
He's hit it out of the park.
Yeah, it's effortless.
It's
Yeah.
effortless.
For us, it'll be like pretentious.
Yeah.
When I mean, not us. I mean, I'm talking about normal people.
Fair enough.
It's pretentious,
Yeah.
but yeah, for you,
It's
that makes
so
so much
nuanced,
sense.
yeah.
Fabulous, yeah. Because I mean, I just could go on and on because that's why I love post interviews because there's so much to
Yeah,
talk
that's
about.
Yeah.
And you know, it's always fun to know your side of the story for finally getting into the nitty-gritties of everything.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we'll obviously be short of time. But thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you for Khakee. Thank you for
Yeah, it's so
everything you've done
sweet.
so far. And of
Wow.
course, all the best that you have
Thank you
everything
for the
lined up.
love, yeah.
That's
Thank
so
you.
sweet.
Thank
That's
you.
so kind.
Thank you.
man.
Thank you.
you.